guys, my name is Danielle and I work at the International Water Institute. Along with my coworkers Taylor and Phil, I'm going to give you guys an overview of the Red River Basin so you can start to see how your subwatersheds fit into our overall drainage area. So to start with, the Red River starts in the south end of our watershed because the Red River itself flows north. It begins when the Ottertail River and the Basin River confluence together, so they come together to create one river, the Red River, which then continues to flow north along the North Dakota and Minnesota border. Along the way, it collects water from the Wild Rice watershed on the North Dakota side of the basin, and then eventually makes its way through Fargo.
From Fargo, the Red River collects water from a number of different rivers, including the Cheyenne and Pembina on the North Dakota side, and the Red Lake River and Buffalo on the Minnesota side. Then it continues north all the way up to the border between North Dakota and Canada.
As the Red River continues north through Canada, it flows through the town of Winnipeg, which is the largest town in the Red River Basin, and it continues into Lake Winnipeg where it ends. At the other end of Lake Winnipeg is another river called the Nelson River, which eventually makes its way all the way up to Hudson Bay.
And that is how your subwatershed eventually drains its water into Hudson Bay and the ocean. To give you a little more information, we're going to hop on over to Phil's computer and explore a little more in depth through Google Earth. So let's head over.
Here is a more in-depth look at the Red River Basin now that you saw that brief overview that we just gave you. So as Danielle mentioned, the Red River Basin starts in the south part of the basin at the confluence of the Basin River and Ottertail River. So as we zoom in here, we can see the towns of Wahpeton, North Dakota and Breckenridge, Minnesota. We have the Ottertail River coming in from east to west, and the Bois de Sioux is flowing from the south to the north. These two rivers meet here at the confluence point, and this is the headwaters of the Red River. And the Red River then flows north and makes its way to its first major town in the basin, which is Fargo. And the Red River separates Fargo and Moorhead on the Minnesota and North Dakota border. And as we zoom back out here, the water continues to flow north, and you can see all these tributaries flowing in from both the Minnesota and North Dakota side of the basin. So all these subwatersheds are draining into the Red River. When we come to Grand Forks and East Grand Forks, this is where the Red Lake River flows into the Red River from the Minnesota side of the basin. And Grand Forks was actually named for this fork in the river here. And it continues on north, and it makes its way to the Canadian border. And as we zoom in here, we reach the town of Pemberson on the American side. Here we have the Pembina River, which flows into the Red River, and the Red River then flows north into Canada. It does not need to stop at the customs center there. It just flows north. Does not need a passport because it knows no political boundaries. It just keeps flowing. If we zoom in close enough, this is the bridge we sample from in normal times, and that is our last sample site that we collect water from on the Red River. Again, the Red River knows no political boundaries, keeps flowing through Canada, making its way north. When it reaches the largest town on the Red River, which is Winnipeg. Now Winnipeg has as many people as all of North Dakota combined. So it is a massive town. And we also have another major confluence point here. We have the Assiniboine River confluencing with the Red River here in downtown Winnipeg. And as we zoom out again, we have this town of Selkirk here. And this is the last major town along the Red River before it ends at the edge of Lake Winnipeg. So as the water is flowing through Lake Winnipeg, it actually starts a new river at the very north end of the lake called the Nelson River. The Nelson River flows north again through Canada, and it eventually makes its way to Hudson Bay. And as we zoom out here, you can see how big Hudson Bay is. And as we zoom out further, we can see that Hudson Bay is indeed in part of the Arctic Ocean. And all the oceans are connected, so your canoe from your local river can make its way all the way up to Hudson Bay and eventually to the Atlantic Ocean. Now that your canoe is designed and your dream is written, you know the journey it will take on its way up to the Hudson Bay.